Hey, Michelle.
Hello, Mel. Hello, Mel.
It's nice to be here with you again. We had a week apart. We were both busy with things. It's nice to be back.
Yeah, well, you were busy doing stuff that we can't yet do in Australia, which is travel across the countryside. So you were doing some work travel. I was sort of envious and sort of not. So, because I haven't been
Right.
on a plane yet. So I'm like, anywho, what are we going to
Yeah.
talk about today?
Well, I was thinking maybe we would talk a little bit about something we're hearing from members inside a career that soars. So, we have our monthly Coffee Cocktails Connections networking call coming up this week. And so that's something we do every month for members. And, we usually have a topic that we discuss, but we also have a time, space open for people to ask questions or ask for support. We call it Your Courageous Ask. So, talk to us a little bit about that. What are you hearing from women in some of the recent calls?
Yeah, so the recent calls, and we have a lot of you and I both have a lot of opportunity to interact with women all over the world and in all sorts of different workplaces. And what I'm hearing consistently is, how do I speak up? How do I have a voice? How do I deal with the fact that I'm still, I'm in a male-dominated workplace, and there's kind of some stuff that I want to be better, but I don't know how to call it out. And let me be clear, this is not just about very toxic workplaces. This is also about workplaces where there's just simply stuff from a customer or a revenue or a workplace culture perspective could be better. But as one of the minority, she's not feeling like she can speak up for fear of being judged, spoken over, not heard, but judged. And it's just got me thinking. And you and I were talking off air that I just said, gee, we've heard me talk about my vintage before, and I've had 40 years in the workplace, and as a very young woman in the workplace, those are the kind of things I was dealing with. And I'm going, why are we still doing that? Why is this still happening? So for me today, I want us to talk to men, senior men, and the male allies out there to say, come on, guys, I really want you to step up and hear these things, because we've got a lot of really talented women who are just not reaching their full potential because they don't feel confident enough to speak up about what really matters, particularly when it comes to customers and culture.
Right. And this has been on my mind today because of recent political news and the fact that the governor of New York stepped down due to sexual harassment allegations. And, there were 11 women that came forward. And it kind of makes someone like me sit here and think, what does it take to believe women? And so, we put this under the sort of politics umbrella, but that's someone's workplace. That's where these women are working. So let's talk about male allies then for a moment. What does that look like? What's a male ally look like?
Well, I'm going to, after we finished, I'll post in all of the feeds what a male ally looks like and sounds like, because I had 7 really terrific men in my network who I went to about, a few months ago and said, okay, I know that you're great male allies. What is a male ally and what do you want to do? What does a male ally do? So I'll put that in. But in essence, a male ally is someone, well, he is number one, committed to equitable workplaces. So saying, well, okay, how do I, and when I'm talking about equity, not equality, because equity says, and I don't mean to be patronising, but equity is saying, women of colour, people of colour are starting at a different starting block than white men and white women to some degree. So they're looking for equity to say, what do I need to do to even the playing field for women in my organisation? How do I use my power and my influence to make changes, to listen to learn, but also to listen, to do, to take action. And, and they're committed. And they're committed all of the time. So yeah, that male allies are committed to equitable workplaces.
And so the action piece of it, I just want to emphasize is important, right? It's not just about being nice, right? There's an action component to recognizing those things that you talked about. So let's imagine that we have a wonderful male viewer right now who's interested in how he can learn more and then turn that learning into action. Where would you guide him to?
So there's a couple of ways that you can do this, and I'm going to loop back round to the politics because, the governor of New York, but our own here in Australia, our own federal parliament has been under scrutiny for some time because of awful situation. So a young woman was raped in Parliament House, but the experience of women inside Parliament House, which should be our leading workplace in Australia, it should be beyond reproach. And as it turns out, it actually is not. So to get a sense of what it is like for women and the experience that women have, including female politicians, there's a really great series on our national broadcaster, the ABC at the moment, called Ms. Represented by Annabelle Crabb. There's also a podcast which is capturing all of the details. I want male allies to watch or listen to that and just sit and understand and have some empathy for the experiences that women have when they are the minority. So that's one way. And the other way is there's a really cool male ally called Adam Grant, and he has a podcast. Now, he's a professor at Wharton and has done lots of research. He works with Sheryl Sandberg and many, many others. But he has a podcast called Work Life, and it's beyond gender, but it certainly is around really exploring what it takes to create a really terrific workplace culture. But he's a great male ally because he's calling out some of the behaviours that he wants to see stop, as well as giving because what I like to do is give a solution. I want you to stop this, but I want you to start that. So for men, I want you to listen. I want you to go out and listen this week to the experiences of women. Don't try and solve yet because you're not ready to, but go and listen and sit in that for a while and think, I wonder what I might do about that.
That's great. So you heard it from Michelle. Male allies can start by checking out some different resources and listening to the experiences of women and learning from people like Adam Grant, who have done a lot of work themselves to become effective male allies. Anything else you want to share, Michelle, today?
Yeah, give me a call. Because I work with, as much as people know me as the woman who works for women, I work with men. In fact, I probably work with more men than I do with women, because I work with organisations who want to change or close the leadership gender gap. And right now, most leaders in organisations are men. So I work with a lot of terrific men, and I act as a guide and as a mentor and as someone who can help people think a little more broadly and deeply about themselves. I don't have all the answers, but I can give a lot of perspective. And I've got some tools and some techniques. So I'm always very happy to share.
Awesome. I love it. And for those of you out there, you can visit michelleredfern.com to find out more about what she was just mentioning that she offers. I love it.
Yes, and I've got a new website. My new website's up. Yay! It looks beautiful.
Yay! It does look great. Awesome. Well, I enjoyed talking with you today, Michelle, and we'll come back together next week for another chat.
We will indeed. See you, folks.
All right. Bye.
Bye.